Week's teaching and learning segment focuses on how to select the most appropriate ACP, VAA, and GroWell objective for the different learning experiences in your classroom. So we're going to look at this from the Know, Do, Be learning framework. So for everything your students do in your class, they will need to know a few things, do a few things, and be a few things. So let's look at those individually. Know. What do your students need to know to answer the question or the task? This is the factual knowledge connected to the concept or to the topic. And they also need to know those conceptual understandings. This is the information that is worth storing in long-term memory and the information that should be on flashcards. Last week I made a video on how we can use flashcards to help our students store information in long-term memory. This is the bits that they need to know. Right, let's move on to do. What will the students need to do to answer the question or complete the task? This is where your ACPs and some of the GroWell standards come in. Moving on to be, what will the students need to be when they're answering the question or doing the task? This is where the VAAs come in, and again, some of the GroWell standards. Let's look at an example. So this is an example from history. The Year 7s are currently answering this question. Why did the Titanic sink and who was to blame? Now, let's look at know first. Clearly, they will need to have the factual knowledge about the Titanic. The role that the captain played and the owner played, some of the reasons why the Titanic sank, what were some of the decisions that were made at different points and the impact of those decisions. So there's a whole list of things that the students simply need to know about the Titanic. Then what are they doing? To successfully answer this question, students need to analyze. So they're going to apply the ACPs under the analyzing umbrella. So for this one, it's critical and logical thinking. You can see how the students will need to think critically and logically to answer this question. They will use the information that they know. These are the things I know about the Titanic. And they will use it critically and logically to answer that question. They will have to show a social awareness around making good choices. Like, this is what I know, and I'm going to make those choices to show a social awareness around why did the Titanic sink and who was to blame. Then moving on to be. To be successful, the students need to be agile. So this is where the agile VAA comes in. Students will have to inquire into the topic. You can see how inquiring is a prerequisite to be able to answer this question. And again, moving on to GroWell, responsible decision making is the GroWell standard that the students will be working on. Now, what could this look like for you in your classroom? You need to think carefully about the quality of the task or the question. Make sure it is open-ended, meaningful, and inquiry-driven. It'll be really good if there could be multiple answers, or people can have different points of view when it comes to answering your question, if possible. I know in certain subjects it won't always be possible. Now, when it comes to know, make a list of all the facts and conceptual understandings that your students need to know when answering this question. Be clear about these. You need to have a list of this at the beginning of the unit. You need to know exactly what the students need to know. Make it explicit. And again, these are the flashcard moments. This is the stuff that the students need to store in long-term memory. Finally, do. So think carefully about what you want them to do. Use the progression charts. Use the GroWell and HPL correlation document that Amy made. Same thing for B. Be really explicit about what you want them to be. Look at the VAA progression charts and the correlation document and think carefully about those three things. What do you want the students to know, do, and be? And through that lens, you can pick your VAA, ACPs, and your GroWell standards. Right, if you need any help, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to sit down with anyone and help them with what this could look like for them.